Hey everybody, it's Dirk. It is Thursday, November 21st at 5:30. And I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to do a show, but I am here and not much for me to do right now. I just thought I'd pop in and say hi and thanks to everybody who sent us all these beautiful notes and well wishes and all kinds of stuff. It's been rough couple of days, rough leading up to it, and rougher post Julie, if that's a term, if it is at all. And I just wanted to say thanks to everybody, and I just thought maybe it'd be a great time to come on because tomorrow morning is her service, and I just thought it might be a great time to celebrate this incredible woman who enriched our lives in so many ways. I know you have them. I know you have special people in your lives, and give them a big hug today. And make sure you tell them how much they mean to you. It's important that, because you never know when people can be taken from you. It's impossible to know. This is a community of wonderful people, of caring, incredibly involved, supportive, wonderful people. And I know it seems like Bashers, it seems like ever since you guys have gotten to know me, like some really crazy stuff has gone on. And I guess I'm just at that age where we start losing things in our lives that we take for granted. And I think we should never take any of these things for granted. Hold the ones you love close to you and remind them every day how much you love them. I met Julie in 1989 when I first met Paul. She's Paul's stepmom. And they've been married for over 40 years. Paul's mom and dad separated when they were him and his sister were very young kids. And Jules always been there. And I met her soon after I had met him, and was instantly one of my favorite people. Smarter than anybody I've ever met. She had a career that was based upon her incredible intellect and versatility. She was a Swiss Army knife, athlete, intellect, funny woman, loving mother-in-law. These kind of people are so rare. There was not a single hole in her story. Julie was exactly who you'd want her to be. It's very rare that we don't meet people who have some kind of guise, some kind of smokescreen, some kind of alternate reality. But Julie was exactly who she presented herself to be. She was just so warm. I mean, she would hear curse words and wince, but she had a bawdy laughter too. She had a bawdy comedy, and she introduced me to a lot of great things, and we shared so much over the 35 plus years that I've known her. She is only 9 years older than myself, and she was a young woman, 68 years old. She, her and Paul's dad met when they were working together in a store in Los Angeles. And she's been there all the time, and she welcomed me instantly into the family, without absolutely any kind of preconceived notions of any kind. We were instant fast friends. We traveled all over the world together. We went on so many amazing trips, Paris and Italy and Croatia and just England, so many amazing places. She was a travel partner like no other. She was a planner. She was the one that put all those trips together, that booked the hotels and the flights and the things we were going to do. She was the person that you could depend on, for just about everything. She was an incredible stepmom. Paul and her could not be closer. And here's another testament to who she was as a human being. Her and Paul's real mom were great friends. Jen, Paul's mom, is a hairdresser. She's been cutting Julie's hair for 35 years. They were the best of friends, and that's so rare in this universe for somebody to remarry and your ex-wife and your current wife are incredible friends. It's amazing and a rare thing. It's because of the type of person that she was. Just an open book of wonderfulness. There's not a person in the world that could have had a bad word for her. It was just amazing. And she got cancer about 2 years ago. And the prognosis was guarded, but she had treatment, and she was doing very, very, very well until about a month ago. And it just kind of snowballed. All of a sudden, she had a little bit of respiratory distress. She went to the doctor. They said she had pneumonia. They sent her home. Cancer did not look like it had progressed. Then it got worse. She went to the hospital. They said the cancer had progressed. And this last week and a half has just been a roller coaster of early morning trains and hospital visits and spending as much time as we could with her. And then last Wednesday, the decision was made to put her on a respirator because she needed the oxygen to get to her organs so she could get this amazing new treatment, this breakthrough cancer drug, which is for small cell cancer, and it's an insidious because it multiplies very quickly. It's really one of the cancers that you don't want. If you had to get cancer, you don't want that one. So what had happened was she was able to get this introductory dose last week, and we were all excited for her leveling off and being able to start this treatment. Well, things just went downhill from there, and she was never able to get that dose, and she had been on a respirator, and the numbers looked the same, and they progressively got worse. So we were told the other day that what would she want? Would she want to remain on life support essentially and be taken off? And it's just me and Paul and Paul's dad and her sister, and we were all together, keeping vigil. Everybody was there. There was always somebody there with her, and the decision was made the night before last that she would not want that. We had discussed it, and yesterday we removed her ventilator, and she went very, very quickly. We were all there, and it just didn't seem real. So if there's that person in your life that means a lot to you, please do yourself a big favor, and please call them, go over there, hug them, go through all your snapshots, go through all your memories, talk about all the things that you shared and you loved, because what a gift she was. I can't imagine the world without her. Sorry. It's just not fair, and I'm totally done with God, man. I'm totally done. I grew up a good Catholic boy, and you know what? I do believe we are spirits and we are energy, and I do believe that stuff. But the whole Catholic bullshit, I'm officially done with it, because our prayers, your prayers, everybody's prayers, all the candles I lit, all amounted to nothing. And fuck all that. God needed a special angel. There's plenty of them up there. You don't need them. Julie's work was certainly not done here. So I'm sad, yeah, but I'm really angry because I just think about all the time I wasted, especially in the last year and a half when none of my prayers were answered. So I'm pissed. I'm super pissed. And I appreciate I know that like the machinations of lighting candles and stuff, it's something we go through, prayers at night, which I did nightly. I know that it's something that we all do. It's what we have. It's all we know. It's all we've ever had, because science can't disprove or prove anything. But this is a woman that had so much left to do, and I just can't fathom she ran so much. So many of us have to learn how to not just live without her, but learn things that she took care of for us, because she was such a custodian of people's lives. She was the go-to person to fix what you effed up, and Paul's dad. Wow. you know, and he and I wound up in a little fight last night, and it just came out of nowhere. Grief, um, emotion. I don't know how to even describe what it is, to the point where um, I actually just left and I went home. This was after everything, after all the stuff we had to do post Jewel. And it was just so silly and so stupid. And we've not spoken since. And it, how something like that can happen, it can happen because people are so riddled with grief, know that, emotions are afraid, and how everybody handles grief in their own way. And yeah, it's just an ugly thing. And I hope that'll rectify itself. I can't see how it shouldn't. I've been close to him forever. However, Julie was always the referee whenever anybody got into a tiff. I had the same kind of similar kind of argument with him in Croatia once over breakfast, and I just looked at him incredulously, and I was like, "What are you doing?" So yeah, so figured I'd share a little couple of things with you, and here's a great picture of me and Jewel. This is in Trieste, in Italy, at our hotel, the Savoia, the beautiful Savoia Hotel, which she discovered on the balcony. This is probably 2012, the first time we got there. Look, I had a Fu Manchu in 2012. And she was just so full of life and beautiful and wonderful. And we had this hotel, the Grand Savoia in Trieste, the Trieste Excelsior de Savoia. It's not a town that's full of tourists or anything like that. It's a town that kind of sits at the top of the Adriatic and borders the former Yugoslavia, Slovenia, Croatia, and it's a beautiful Austro-Hungarian town. And the reason why we went there was because it turns out that Paul's dad is part Croatian, and most of his family had moved to Trieste, and he had some relatives there. And wouldn't it be great if she could track them down and meet them? And we did, and now we're very close to, and we just lost, he's got a cousin there, and her husband, Walter, had just recently passed away, and we got to know him really well. And it was all because of her. She made this all happen. And she booked this incredible vacation that we went on, and we flew to Rome, then to Trieste, and then we drove all the way down the Dalmatian coast and went to Rovine and to Split and Dubrovnik. And this was just one of so many incredible adventures. She was so full of adventure. She loved everything about discovering new things, crazy languages, crazy food, crazy wine. We were always on the lookout for an amazing local wine. Julie loved her red wine. She adored discovering new things. She loved European everything. Street signs she couldn't read. Culture she had no knowledge of, and she was so smart, obsessed with the classics, obsessed with the Romanovs. And one of our favorite trips that we planned on and never got to do was we wanted to see Russia. We wanted to go to St. Petersburg and see the Amber Room, and we wanted to go and see the Hermitage. These are things that she was really interested in, and her and I both wanted to see it. It was something one of the things we never got to scratch off our list, and I'm so sorry she never got to see those things, because she would have loved them. And, of course, the whole Russia thing kind of went up in Putin smoke, and no one can go there now. And, we talked about that. God, when are we ever going to be able to get to St. Petersburg? Things you couldn't do, but we talked about it. And that's a really nice shot of us there. And we had just checked in. We were so jet lagged at that point. And God, I had a Fu Manchu in a lot of pictures. I didn't think I did. Here's a picture of me, Jewel, and Dave at we went to go see Ringo Starr in 2015. I look like a bodyguard behind them. Just so full of wonder and life, and so energetic until the end, until the very end. I had just gotten to fix her brand new iPad, and what did she do the second it worked? She got straight back to work. And the real tragedy of this thing is that she worked at this very big company for, I guess, almost 30 years, and she had just announced her retirement. So she was going to live out her golden years in travel and enjoyment and beautiful hotels. Man, Julie introduced me to some of the greatest hotels in the entire world and spoiled me forever. She booked us at the George Cinq in Paris, which I don't know if you know what that is, but it's the craziest hotel. It's just this grand dame of Parisian luxury. And she introduced me. She's like, no, Dirk, these are called Pretezi sheets or Frette sheets. Like the crazy little things. And it wasn't like she was into diamonds and crazy jewelry and fur coats. She liked simple luxuries like great sheets, great wine, great food, great travel, business and first class, things like that. Things you could attain, the attainable she liked, and always figured out ways that we could enjoy things the most. She rented a de Chevaux, famous old Citroën, when we got to Paris, and we had a tour. We dropped all our bags, and she took us on this amazing tour throughout Paris, and in this ancient car. And then 15 years later, for David's birthday, he opens up the garage, and that car was in his garage. She bought him that car for his birthday. This 1960 Citroën de Chevaux, because she knew it would. She lived for pleasing people, for making people happy. It was an incredible thing. She here's a picture of her and David's cousin in the Tommaso Cafe having a spritz. Julie's having a red one because she thought spritzes were crap. She absolutely hated them. That's Paul's cousin. She's got a nice Cartier there. She let David indulge in his watch collection. She didn't think it was stupid. She didn't think anything of it other than it was his passion, and she encouraged it. And how many wives encouraged the husband to go bananas buying, expensive watches and doing things like that? Not many women do, but she did. She always encouraged people to enjoy what drove them, what their passions were. Follow your passions. She always said that. She came to my concerts and always encouraged me to pick it back up. Or, I was able to write a little song for her birthday this year. And I didn't think that would be anything other than a birthday song. Because David loves the Beatles. So she did too. She loved some very interesting music. She liked what people would now consider square music. I don't. She loved the Carpenters and the vocal groups like the Letterman and things like that. We talked about stuff like that. And her husband my father-in-law was more a rock and roll guy. But she never discouraged anybody from loving what they loved. And every single Christmas, we would always have Christmas Eve at their house. And we would always open these crackers, and there's Jewel in the center. I'm not in the picture because I'm taking the photograph. And that's our Aunt Gloria, who is now no longer with us, Paul's mom, Jewel, Paul, and his dad. And we would have this amazing feast every Christmas Eve, and every single Christmas Eve for the last 35 years. She would cook. She was an incredible cook, originally from the Midwest. Her father worked in the automotive industry. They would go from her hometown, which was Detroit, to Rochester, New York, then on to Los Angeles, where she grew up, and then on to New York when she met David. And they made a beautiful home, and she always provided us with the best time ever, and always curated her gifts and her menus to suit what you were into, something new, something we discovered in Europe. She would learn how to make it, and she did it. And also the traditions. She was a traditionalist. She was a Catholic. She had incredible values. She valued family so very, very much. And yeah, I just thought I'd share that stuff with you. I mean, I've probably got 50,000 pictures of her. Of course, at this point, I'll find some of the, I have my photos app on a different hard drive, and I was just too brain dead to go through it. So it's what I could come up with. And but this is I'll send with this last one. She had a sisters weekend every year that her and her sisters got together, and there they are, and having a great time. And yes, Jewel, Jenny, Amy, and Kristen, and they would get together at Jewel's. It used to be in hotels in foreign cities, but then they decided when Jewel got her dream house that it would be at hers, because she would always throw the best weekends, and we would be allowed to crash it for one afternoon, and we've done that ever since. But that's who she was as a person, full of joy, love, and everything. So just thought I'd share that with you. And thanks so much. Dave Fahrenheit 451. How are you, Dave? Great to see you, man. Thank you so much. Steve Zalitsky. Hey, man. Great to see you too. Kevin Landon, upvoted number 3 today. I'm very sorry to hear of your loss. Thanks, buddy. Thanks to everybody. I mean, listen, we all go through these things. It's just, I guess now that being a slightly public person, a little bit more of the things that go on in my world are amplified due to my schedule and the relationships that I've made with all of you. And I'm so grateful. Melly C, grateful. Eric B, Carolyn, of course. You guys, Steve Liskey says, welcome back, Sir Dirk. Have a great show and feel the support. I do. I feel the support in an amazing way from you guys. And I saw Ush did it. I didn't get to watch it because I was up to stuff last night. I saw he did a big live. Thanks to him for carrying the torch and getting on there. And we'll get back in the groove. Tomorrow morning is the service, and what we'll do from there, I don't know. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, NDM. Thank you so much. Hey, thank you, Hitesh, so much. JB, thank you. Time flies. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. Mart, beautiful Mart. Hope everything's going well with your move, man. Vasilios, you rock. Thank you. And Nathaniel, thank you for $20. Sorry for your loss. Thank you so much. Thank you, beautiful people. I'm not going to do the gongs or any of that shit today. It just feels inappropriate. The commerce feels inappropriate. But I just wanted to get together with you all and say hi and thanks for the support. I just wanted to be with you today. I'm home alone because Paul's doing his duties. There's not much I can do right now other than iron some white shirts for tomorrow, which I'll do after the show. Mike Callan, thank you. Yeah, you ever take a break? Well, I took a break yesterday. It was the first one. Oh, Mike Callan, man, thank you so much. It's very kind of you. That'll go towards some flowers or something really beautiful in her honor, because I can't think of what maybe a song to celebrate her life. I don't know how I'm gonna come up with the right thing to say or do for her. But yeah, it's weird. Thank you, Mike. Adrian Liu, I think you must have been well, I hope so. And probably brought her a great deal of happiness over the years. I hope so. One can only hope, I loved her. She was a great person. I spent so much time with her. And, man, if you ever had a problem, like a person you can call and just say, hey, this crap, she would intuitively know. She's one of those, like, she was a sage, a Shah woman. She just knew when stuff was weird, and she'd give you a call and she'd always say, you okay, hon? She used to call people hun a lot. She called me that a lot. She goes, you okay, hun? And I'd be like, well, yeah, I'm okay. No, come on, tell me what's going on there, And that a lot of people don't reach out because, a lot of people don't want to be bothered. She was so busy. She had a job that was extremely 24/7 and international and very high powered. And she always found time, and her and I had a couple of dinners, not enough alone, because, we married into the family. So sometimes we'd get together for just some, girl talk. And we never had enough time for those. We tried to a couple times and we did, but not enough time. Andrew, be an asset to others, be an inspiration in others' lives, blessings in their memories. Upvote everyone and subscribe. Also, please consider being a patron if you can. Thanks, Andrew. Thank you so much. Beautiful Selena. Hi. Sorry. Thank you so much. I will tell Paul that you said so, and thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. It's Jocelyn. Hey. Yeah. I mean, wow, I wish you all got to know her. I can't even think of her in the past tense. It just seems so incredibly wrong because so much to do, so much for us to do, so many trips to plan, so many holidays to share together. You know, Christmas Eve was always theirs. And then Christmas Day was always for my nuclear family. But, it's just the amount of time that we spent together over the years was she was the most inclusive person. She would invite people to everything. She wanted to have the best party. She wanted to have the best food, the best wine, the best laughs. Our Parisian trip. Now, of course, I had been to Europe a lot, but the first trip I ever took with them, I guess it took a long time for us to start our vacations together, but it became a foursome after a while. When we went to Paris, I told you she booked us in the George Cinq, and we went to. Here's a great story. Thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you. I'm sending you hugs and all that too. You're so beautiful. Thank you so much. Hitesh C says, "How about one big gong for Julie? How about it? How about it? Okay, you're right. How about this? Because she was nuclear." She was indeed that. So here's a very funny story about her. So we go to Paris, right? And this is 2004. And we check into like the sickest hotel in the whole wide world, and we find our favorite restaurant. And if she found our favorite restaurant, because she was the type of person, she always asked the waiters names. She always wanted to be on a personal basis with everybody. She always wanted to bring it down a notch. I'm not your customer. Let's all be friends. And she went to the concierges at the George Cinq, and she said, "Do you have any recommendations?" Knowing that they're going to say the restaurant and the hotel or whatever. And she says, "Now, guys, I don't mean where you want your customers to eat. Where do you want to go eat?" And they told her, "Well, we go to Chez André, which is like 13 Rue de Marbeuf. Chez André, if you're ever in Paris, please go there." Now, there's a million brasseries in Paris. There are a lot of them are great. This one is particularly wonderful. And we did a bunch afterwards and kept going back there. And every time I've been back to Paris, it's straight to Chez André. It's in the beautiful part of France. It's right down the block from the Champs-Élysées and Rue du Georges Cinq, in the most beautiful arrondissement in Paris. And it's not incredibly expensive, but it's one of those perfect brasseries that has the greatest wine list you've ever had. And just the atmosphere is local. It's not touristy. It's just a classic brasserie where Parisians go to eat. So we went there, and she discovered that. And we, in our trip, for this trip we had planned, she wanted us all to go see the Palace of Versailles. And she thought, what a great idea. We'll check out of the George Cinq in Paris, go to Versailles, stay in a hotel there, see Versailles. And then we went back to Paris for one night because we were going to London right after that. And so we had these friends that had gotten a Parisian apartment in a kind of sketchy part of town. They were David's friends, a gay couple, older gentleman that David worked with. David was a window display designer for all the big department stores. So we check out, we take, I don't even remember how we got to, we got to Versailles because we took the train. I think it's called the TVT or something. And we were like, oh crap, it's only 40 minutes away. This is a day trip. We didn't need to stay in Versailles. Oh, well, she had picked a beautiful hotel in Versailles and we stayed there overnight. But in the morning we got to Versailles, and I don't know if anybody's never been there or if you have been there. We got there early in the morning when there was fog everywhere. So we checked into the hotel, walked up the street to where the Palace of Versailles was. And the fog was so thick that you could barely see your hand in front of your face. It was, and I have some amazing pictures. We went past this. What do you call Carolyn? You would know, one of those circles where you train your horses. It's like a circle where they figure out how to get the horses to perform or to do what they do. And I have these beautiful, very ethereal photographs of these horses in movement. And she found it because she says, "Oh my God, you got to see this really quick." So we went down the lane and saw that. Then when we got to Versailles, we couldn't see anything, and finally we saw the facade as we got closer, and it just looked like something George Lucas had done. It just looked like blue screen or green screen. Nothing about it looked real. And as the fog started to lift, we saw Palace of Versailles is a structure that was added onto and added onto. So it's kind of like a hodgepodge of architectural styles and different things that are kind of been snapped together over time or whatever. And we had this tour of the Palace of Versailles. And then by this time, the sun had shone and the gardens were in their full glory. Incredible topiary and all kinds of architectural gardening. I mean, Dean, if you've not been there, I'm sure you probably have. It's right, a hop, skip, and a fart from where you are. It was just the most over-the-top magnificent thing ever. So we're walking through, and the whole place smells kind of rank. And I'm thinking to myself, and I'm with, Jewel, and I'm like, why does this place smell like piss? And she's laughing, and she goes, it kind of does. It kind of smells like urine. And I was like, wow. So finally we get to the Hall of Mirrors, which is that big, long corridor made out of mirrors for the French court and courtesans, et cetera, et cetera. And finally I get a minute to say something to the woman who's guiding the tour. And I said, can I ask you a question? There's a very underlying smell here. And she starts laughing. And she goes, well, Monsieur, the reason for that is because this is all limestone. And in the day, during the courts, there were no facilities inside. So during the parties, the people and the women would go into the halls, into the stairwells, and she gestures to pick up her giant hoop skirt and relieve themselves, and it would seep into the stone. And they've never figured out a way to get that smell out of the stone. And we were baffled, but holy crap, it was exactly what we thought was true. It was pretty amazing. And we just giggled and laughed. But here's the funny part, that so we're leaving that day. So we're going to Paris for one day. So she calls up our American friends who live in Paris, who somehow got this beautiful apartment that they've since sold. And they said, well, there's a hotel down the street that looks pretty nice. It's called the Tim. Why don't you just stay there? And we're like, the Tim Hotel? Tim? Yeah, they're like the Tim Hotel. And I think it might be the same people that have the SIM cards. I think so, because the logo looks very much the same. So we go there, and we had just stayed in the George Cinq, probably the fanciest hotel I'll ever see in my life. And it's a hooker hotel. There's no doubt about it there. Those are prostitutes. Those are drug addicts. Those are criminals. And we're checking into this place, and she just looks at me. I look at her, and she looks at David and Bo. We're like, we got to check out of here. And we're laughing because it's not dirty or anything. It's just kind of skanky folks are kicking around. Very odd. So we check into this hotel, which probably cost nothing. I don't even remember, but it was a joke. And we open up the door, and the door hits the bed. We're like, well, we're only here for one night. We're leaving early in the morning to go to London via the Eurostar. So we're like, can we rough it? We can rough it. We're troopers. We can rough this, right? So their room is here. Our room is right next door. And I certainly never slept. I think I sat in a chair because the place just scared the crap out of me. We heard so much crap going on. So about 2:00 in the morning, I heard some kind of ruckus. I opened up the door, and there's Jewel, and she's like, what's that? I'm like, I have no idea. What is that? So I creep down the stairs to look, and there's a couple of prostitutes yelling at this manager of the hotel, and he's throwing them out, pulling them by their dresses and throwing them out, literally throwing them out on the street. And Jewel says, that's it. So we woke everybody up. We were out the door by sunup and at the Gare du Nord to get the train. But it was the most hilarious thing, where we got to see the juxtaposition of the best part of Paris and the absolute worst part. And there was those little stupid things like that were just such amazing memories that we've repeated over time. And I think just indelible memories of her. And it just goes to show you, even what an angelic person was, she was like, they're hookers. It's just unbelievably crazy. Hey, Happy Meal, thank you so much. Dirk, condolences for your loss. Making a positive difference in people's lives is the greatest legacy a person can leave behind. Sounds like she sure did. Thank you, pal. Thank you so much. Yeah, she did. She left an indelible memory on everyone. Like I said, there was not a single hole in her story. She just brought joy and completion to everybody's lives. I don't know how many people can say that. I know that I can't. I think I'm a pretty nice, helpful person, but like I'm a joke compared to how incredible she was. Past tense again. It's just impossible. I just don't know what's going to happen now at this point. And she was so looking forward to our defection to Italy. She had so many ideas about, and this is a town she has never been to. Fano in La Marche. She's never been there. We've been to Italy a couple of times with her, but Fano's Paul's mother's side of town. So I don't know, because we meet with so many of Paul's mom's relatives. It just never seemed like the right thing to do. Now in hindsight, they would have loved her, and Paul's cousins who were just here, they knew her very well, because when they came to New York, they met her and they adored her. Shame on us for not having brought her to Fano to see what our future life is supposed to look like. She saw the pictures. We showed her all the places that are interesting to us, like real estate wise, apartments and small homes that we plan on looking at next year when we go over there for our reconnaissance mission, because our reconnaissance mission is in late spring. Our plan is to go over there, get together with Paul's cousin, who is an attorney, and go look at a ton of places and see what's doable, what's not doable. She was so incredibly invested in that, because she loved Italy. She was like, you guys totally need to do that. And she goes, and then I have a place to crash. And we were like, this is going to be the best thing ever. And yesterday, before the stupidity, Paul's dad said, do you think it would be okay if I came? It's like, yes, David, it would be fine if you came. I'm sorry that I'm not going to share a glass of wine with her in Piazza Settembre and take her along the Adriatic coast and show her Ancona and Rimini and all the amazing San Marino and all the amazing places. She never got to see that part of Italy. She got to see Rome and Milan and Florence and all the Venice, of course. Here's a funny story. Now I know there's told Jewel stories today. So the last time, well, not the last time, I've been to Venice many times since then, but I think the third time I went to Paris, I remember we were there in the height of tourist season. It was me, Paul, his dad, and Jewel. And we stayed at the Bauer Palazzo, which is really nice. And it was kind of like an old haunted hotel, the Bauer being more of an Art Deco masterpiece, and then its sister hotel, which is connected, the Palazzo. It just felt haunted and creepy, and she was super creeped out by it, and the rooms were really, really old. But that trip wasn't wasn't Venice at its best. We had a couple of restaurant experiences that were so great, and her and I were like, she says, I think every time I see Venice, I like it a little bit less. And I said, it's my favorite place, but yeah, it was just a crappy trip. But we went to Vespers at the church right across from the Bauer, and then we went to Venice without them. And I said, Jewel, no, the problem was where we were when we were. Venice is still as magical as we always remembered it. And because she had gone previously on a trip with David and his kids, and I don't know why I didn't go on that trip, but I didn't go. And that was with Paul's sister's husband, who none of us speak to. And I couldn't imagine going on a vacation with that guy, because one, he's a bore, and two, he's just an ignorant dum-dum. And I was like thinking, how did you put up with that? And she said, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. He's a whiner and a complainer and just an overall not nice person. And which he certainly exemplified later on in his reactions and his dealings with us. But She said it was tough. But I didn't go on that trip, and I don't know why. I guess maybe I was doing something with the band. I don't know, but I remember that was in the 90s at some point. Now, Paul and I had gone in the 90s, like probably a couple of months before or after that. So he had gone to Italy quite a bit during that time. But so much great travel. I mean, I got to do so many great things with her, but her retirement was just announced, and she was going to be enjoying the life that she had created, a comfortable life. She'd finally gotten to the point where she could just take a deep breath and say, and then for some reason, her breath was the thing that was taken away from her. She had lung cancer and then pneumonia, and the pneumonia is what took her from us. And meanwhile, she was all ready to take that deep breath and embrace life and see everything. A schedule of travel, a schedule of wonder, a schedule of learning and enchantment. And that's the thing that, if you're planning on going somewhere with somebody you love, man, do it. Book it today. Book it today. Book something today for you and the people you love. Because if those are the things that you experience together and you really enjoy, you should do it, because you don't know. I mean, we had full plans on doing this late spring thing, and she said, I'd love to go. I was like, well, come on board, lady. I can't wait for you to see that town. And she's like, I don't know if she calls David. She says, I don't know if he wants to go, because he's got this fear of flying thing, which a couple of Valiums will solve that. But get on a plane, people. If you face your fears, if you don't like traveling and you don't like getting on a plane, I went through even though my dad was with American Airlines for 40 years, I don't know. And I think it's David's fault, because I was traveling with him and he was a nervous Nelly, and, and he'd take a Valium and have a sherry. And then somehow it rubbed off on me. And I had like a maybe 1 or 2 year thing where I hated flying. And I don't know, because I love flying and I know how it works. And I love aviation and all those things. I loved it my whole life. All of a sudden I had this fear, and it must have been transmitted. Luckily, I was able to just turn that over and say, F this. I love travel. But he still has it. And we talked about it. And I said, well, what do we got to do to get you back to Europe? And he goes, I don't know. I'm just too nervous to fly. He's a bit of a nervous Nelly about this, that, or the other. And she's the only one who could calm the savage beast, which is nuts. Yeah. Hitesh C says, Ush's life. Yeah, he does that because when you're a channel that has content that's, movies and films and cinema and stuff like he does, the live streams are actually detrimental to being on your list. I don't know why that is. It's YouTube's algorithm. He knows that. And he takes them down. That's the only reason why he does it, because he says they're bad for the algorithm. Nelius, look at you, beautiful baby. You're always thinking of, not always, but today for sure. Thank you, man. Today the Bashers think of you. That's very nice of you. Carla says, just set up. I'm sorry to hear this feeling you're lost, Dirk. My thoughts are with you. Thank you, buddy. Angelo, beautiful. Thank you so much. Condolences to both you and Paul. Yeah, we're going to try. Tomorrow's going to be rough. Logan's Hall's grill stream. So that's very cool. Look at that. Thank you. I said my condolences. Sorry to hear. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. Hey, Fergal, how are you? Amazing stories you have with Julie, says so much. I mean, some of the best stories I have, all the best stories I have include her. She was just incredible. Thanks, Fergal. Nick Sisto, Dirk, I wish I had the words to make you feel better. Just know we were all here. Thank you, buddy. Thanks. This is so shitty, I mean, and how do I say this in the way that makes sense? I don't know how. I did not cry when my parents died for a couple of reasons. And I felt very guilty for that. I mean, I did once. And that was when my father opened up his big mouth at my mom's wake. And he was sitting in a chair and he said, can somebody help me so I can go see my bride? I had to leave the room, have a 2-second meltdown, and I came back. My mom was 87 and she had some severe cognitive issues. And it was a very big struggle for her and for everyone, especially my sister Pat, who lived with them and had to deal with that on a daily basis. Incredible. We would help, not enough, as much as I would have liked to have helped. I was there at night sometimes, not enough. She was there on the daily at the front line dealing with all that. It's really hard. My father had all of his marbles, but my dad died at 94, and he died on his own terms. He wasn't feeling well. He said something to my brother. My brother took him to the hospital. He went to sleep, and he didn't wake up. No one expected that to happen, but he was 94 years old, and that's winning the lottery. My mom's was a multi-year struggle of, just kind of cognitive cuckoo town. And that's no life. That was no life. She had an amazing life. And I didn't have the big meltdown because I felt like my parents both lived their full lives to the extent that they should have. Yes, we could always do more stuff. I don't know if my father could have done more stuff. My father did everything, flew all over the world for 1,000,000 years, and then finally just stopped traveling because he says, I've been there. I've done that. No more, not interested. He just wasn't interested anymore. He just wanted to stay home, have a giant cup of 2 bags of tea, watch his old Westerns. Like, while my dad was, in his later years, I'd be there in the morning and we'd watch. My dad was obsessed with old Westerns, John Ford and all these great movies like The Searchers, John Wayne. And for some crazy reason, my father loved Tom Selleck. And I was like, dude, you're so gay for Tom Selleck. He's like, I love Tom Selleck. We'd watch all these Westerns that he made. And he had this kind of Somebody Stone, forgive me, I don't remember the name of it. This whole series of detective in a small New England town. And he loved all that stuff. And my dad got exactly what he wanted out of life. And when he left on his own terms. And it was incredible stuff. My father was also a Randolph Scott, who was the John Wayne before John Wayne. John Wayne kind of eclipsed him and kind of just, he got lost to memory, I guess. This guy, Randolph Scott's a big, handsome guy. Apparently, he was Cary Grant's boyfriend for 30 years. Whatever, Hollywood. And I was like, I said, hey, Dad, you Randy Scott, that was, he goes, all right. Or he goes, I know what you're going to say. Shut up. Jesse Stone. Thanks, Kevin Landon. That's right. And thank you, Nick, for that. That's very sweet of you. Jesse Stone. I watched all of those because my father loved. He goes, see if there's any Tom Selleck on there. See if there's any Tom. Not Magnum. He didn't want to watch that. He thought that show was stupid. But he loved all the other shows. We watched Lassiter and all those. He loved him as a film star, and he liked the. He didn't watch Blue Bloods, which has been on for years and years and years. I don't know if you get that across the pond, but he didn't watch that show. And I said, he's on this show now. He goes, yeah, I don't like it because it's a bullshit Irish family. I was like, oh, you've seen it. He goes, yeah, it's not my cup of tea. He liked all the other stuff that he did, but they went out on their own terms. And so, yes, do I feel guilty about not having the meltdown? I did, and I don't now. I just feel like they had great lives, and Jewel had a great life, yes, but she was 68. And other than the cancer thing, she had so much left to do, fully mobile. And man, the smarts of this woman. I mean, and if somebody corrects you, sometimes you get a little funny. I generally don't do that because I like being corrected. If I'm wrong, I would like to know it as opposed to just let me go. It reminds me of that guy from The Sopranos, Little Carmine, who used to just use words, malapropisms, would just galore. She would just grab you by the shoulder and she'd be like, no, it's blah, and tell you what you did that was wrong. I appreciated that. The smarts on her. There was so much left for her to do, and how unfair. And cancer. What the fuck is cancer? I was talking to her oncologist, and we're talking about how it's this protein that's got this shell and how it invades other cells and how it's one of your cells that just went rogue, but there's so many different types of cancer. And it really makes you angry when you lose somebody to cancer, and you wonder why in today's scientific world, how we haven't figured out how to turn that switch off, because it's a switch that gets turned on. It's a switch that one of your cells, it's not like you catch cancer, like you catch other things and it invades your body. It's your own body invading your own body. It is, depending on what kind of cancer is, well, they all do the same thing. It's a protein with a shell that turns on and starts infecting other cells and ruining your life. How come we haven't figured that out yet? We have so much of the genome is completely mapped. Anybody in the, I mean, it makes no sense to me. Then with the mRNA, and when that all happened, we're like, well, that's going to cure everything. Well, it cured nothing, did it? People got sick from that, and people still got COVID from that. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I just got the shingles vaccine. You guys know about that. Man, did that make me feel like crap for 4 days. And Julie was a big vax person. She was like, did you get the flu vaccine? I'm like, yeah, I got the flu vaccine last year with my fourth round of COVID shots. And that I didn't do very well on that either. And she said, you should never stack your flu vaccines. And meanwhile, she just got a flu vaccine about a month ago. And she did not tolerate it well. And maybe she should not have gotten that. So there's also, when somebody you love passes away, you think about the things you should and you should not have done. Should she have gotten that vaccine? Should she have upped the chemotherapy? Should she have, which she did? What are the things? Because no one expected it to go this way. No one expected it. Her immune system obviously was compromised enough that she could not get rid of the pneumonia that she got. And she has had pneumonia. This is like the fourth time she's had it throughout time I've known her. Some people are more, knock on wood, I've never had the flu and I've never had pneumonia. I know people have gotten it and gotten very sick from it. She seemed to be susceptible to that, but she was also one of those people that didn't stop. She would get on the train at 5:30 in the morning to get to her office in Manhattan so she could open up Tokyo and all this crazy stuff. And she would be always on the phone, always doing her job. She worked. She had walking pneumonia. She just didn't stop. She just didn't have an off switch. And obviously cancer doesn't either. I mean, I've been looking up the particular type of cancer that she had, because in the beginning I looked it up and I was like, okay, there's this treatment. It's terrible. It's one of the worst ones you can get. But yet, how come we haven't figured out that one herb or that one combination of things that bind together that just go in there and destroy that? It just seems so simple that the way we know the physiology of the human body, like think about what Da Vinci learned from taking bodies apart. People didn't know the circulatory system and the musculatory system. They didn't know about any of those things until he decided to open up cadavers. But now we have all these incredible kind of, MRIs and all these microscopic abilities to see cells in their absolute state and how they work and how they operate and how they do things. And yet we haven't figured out that when that cancer cell is born, it's a switch that goes off, and then it decides to make other ones the same as it. It just keeps replicating itself. Somehow there's a DNA sequence that needs to get shut off. And now that we've mapped the human genome and we've all seen what that looks like, how come? It makes me wonder if cancer is such a big business that we don't do it. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. You guys know that. I'm not. But it makes you wonder how AIDS was a death sentence. Everybody died from it. Eventually, you died from it. And then they came up with protease inhibitors, and then these drugs that you'll be fine forever as long as you take these medications. Well, isn't there like the one step after that medication just eradicates it from your body? And all the millions and millions and millions and billions of dollars that go into cancer research and AIDS research and all other research. Like, you watch the St. Jude's TV commercials in America, guys. We have this amazing hospital called St. Jude's. It's a hospital for children. Your children have cancer, you go there for free. They've got all the most cutting edge stuff, and it's a miraculous thing. Started by the actor Danny Thomas, incredible, the Lebanese Catholic guy who decided to create this incredible, the best charity in America, the St. Jude's Children's Hospital. That guy should be canonized. Truly, he should, instead of fast tracking the Hitler Youth guy. How come we haven't figured out a way to shut that off? How is that possible? How is it that we can actually see all the nuclei and all the stuff that goes on inside the cells? How come we can't figure out how to make that thing go back to what it used to be? I mean, we will, right? Eventually, we think we will, but will we? Or is that something that would just cripple the pharmaceutical community? I wouldn't think so. Or is it natural selection? Do we still need natural selection? Because there's, like I've said, when I was born, there was 4 billion people in the world, or 4.5 billion people in the world. Now there's close to 9 billion people. People used to die from a toothache. People used to die from, a bad stomach, from hemorrhoids. There were no antibiotics. People just died from bacterial infections. So it kind of kept the human population. Let's face it, we weren't here for the duration of the planet Earth. We weren't here. And then when the advent of humankind happened and we started populating and being top of the food chain, we started becoming bigger and bigger. But the population of the Earth didn't really start this exponential crazy shit until the last, century and a half, where now we're on the verge of tipping the planet over because there's so many people. Is cancer one of natural ways to just balance weights and balances? Is Ebola that? Is all of these things that come out and wipe people out, COVID, or is it they're more sinister things? I mean, these are the things you think about when you face death of somebody or your own demise. It's a very, very crazy thing. I don't know. I think about that stuff all the time. I wonder how real it all is, I wonder how real it all is. Show enough. Oh, thank you very much. Dad has bladder and kidney stage 4 cancer. I'm sorry to hear that. Removed one kidney. He's been on 2 clinical trials. He's 82 and the medication is destroying the cancer and him. Cancer is a mother blanker. It sure the hell is. And you see all these stories. I've watched all these YouTube stories. Hi, my name's Bob, and this is my cancer journey, and how they were able to overcome it. And I'm like, Julie's a person who has means. She's got incredible insurance. She works for this giant company. She's got the abilities, the smarts. She knows where to go, who the right doctors are. And we lost her. Cancer knows no place in society. It just doesn't. Why? I mean, I'm not saying you should be able to buy your way out of cancer, but you'd think there would be. If it was a nefarious thing and there was a cure for cancer and there was a cure for AIDS, you think that you could just call, hey Pete, and Pete calls Joe, and Joe calls Michael, and Michael says, I know the guy. You would think that. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope the cancers, she actually tolerated the first couple of she's been on chemotherapy for 2 years, and radiation. The radiation they stopped doing because they felt did its job. They had shrunk the tumors to where they wanted them, but they hadn't particularly gone away. And then just out of nowhere, overnight, it just spread, and it just got her, I don't know how that happened. Thank you, buddy. I'm gonna do this for everybody that I didn't do it for. Thank you all. Because I feel weird doing that today. He was only able to handle 4 months of chemo. He's on a pill now, but it's crushing him too. Yeah, the pills are just as bad. Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason. But when we know what it is, it's a normal cell that decides to flick a switch inside it, like as if they all have one, and they know how to immediately start turning, other normal healthy cells into the enemy and just start ruining your life. We know what it is, and you would think, as knowing what it is, that we'd be able to figure it out. It's nuts. It's nuts. I wasn't going to do Gallery of Bashtards, but there's a couple in here, and why shouldn't I? Because I'm here, and I love you guys. So let me just do a little gallery for you. If you have any Gallery of Bashtards you guys want to share stuff, it can be about anything. Basherdirk@gmail.com. That's basherdirk@gmail.com. Send it to me now, because I'm just looking at the stuff. I don't have that many, but I have a couple, and I'm always happy to share, and I thank you for letting me share. You guys are the best.
The Gallery of Bashtards, send me the shots, the sublime leaves over. The Gallery of Bashtards, you share them with me, and I share with the world.
Start out with Melly C tonight. Hi, Melly C. Thank you for this. This is, this stuff makes you feel better. It just does. What is going on there? Oh, no. Kitty in a laundry basket and a kitty wondering why. Oh, my God. Oh, oh, Mindy. Oh, my God. Thank you, Melly. Look at them. Look at her. You crazy girl. Oh, boy. Thank you for that. That is so cute. And cats really make me take my mind off of stuff. Look at that. That's absolutely adorable. Oh, look at this. It looks like a vintage portrait shot of those two. Oh, look at them. Oh, these are great. Oh, that's a beautiful shot. What did they turn upside down? Something like a dolly? Oh, thank you, honey. These are good. I mean, I wasn't going to do the Gallery of Bashtards because I just rambled on for the last hour about cancer and beautiful Julie and her journey and her amazingness. But if you have anything you want to see, look, Carolyn Martin, pop it in. Thank you, Carolyn. She's in the big city. That is St. Bartholomew's on Park Avenue. That is a beautiful place. You can have lunch there, too. And what is that? I don't know what that is. Oh, that's them putting the tree together. That's the Rockefeller Center tree. I don't know what's going to happen with Christmas this year since Christmas was always at Julie's. Christmas Eve was when we got together at Julie's house, as you saw that beautiful photograph. And she would always have little gifts at everybody's table, and we'd pop them open. There'd be kind of some stupid gizmo in there. I got a compass, a crown. She was the queen of Christmas, and the gifts were always ridiculous and wonderful and thoughtful. They were always thoughtful. Thank you, Carolyn. Thanks for that. Let's see. I told you, I wasn't planning on doing the gallery, but you're here, and look, everybody's here. Something's wrong. Thanks, guys. Yeah, feel free, please. We're together right now. Why shouldn't it be the Gallery of Bashtards? There's something wrong with this boy, as she says. Oh, no, it's just a stretchy stretch off the couch, which is fine. Hey, Joe LaFaro. He just arrived. He's late. Hey, it's great to see you. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. We just went through a whole conversation about what cancer is. Care to jump in on that one? Such an insidious and horrible thing that exists in this world. All I can remember is, thank you, Carolyn. There is something wrong. It's cute. I remember this episode when I was a kid of the $6 Million Man, and Stephanie Powers was a guest star on the show. And Stephanie Powers was an alien named Shayla. And it was the famous Bigfoot episode where the $6 Million Man came into contact with Bigfoot, who was portrayed by Andre the Giant. And it turns out the aliens had been in this mountain, I guess, in the Pacific Northwest, and they were going home to their planet. And they had to go because they were running out of supplies. And I forget who was sick. Was it Jamie? I don't know who it was. But they only had one elixir left of this drug that cures cancer. And she gave it to Steve to give to a human, because, of course, we have the same physiology as aliens. But this is 70s television, kids. And she gave it away. And then they took her on the spaceship to go back to her planet in the hopes they'd get there in time so she could get this drug that would cure it. She goes, it's what the Earthlings call cancer. And it was this blue elixir in a tube. It was fascinating. But I always remember that. Where is that blue elixir and why don't we have it yet? Why do we not have that yet? Why don't we have it? I don't know why we don't have it. Steve McLeod, my thoughts are with you. Oh, look at this. Is it snowing by you? God, is that about to happen? All I can think of is how bleak this winter is going to be. Bleak, 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 bleak. That's beautiful, though. Oh, wait a second. Did it? I thought there was two. Is there two pictures there? Oh, no, it's just one. Okay. Thank you, buddy. That's beautiful winterscape. Carolyn Martin says the Albertina Museum, Roberto Longo, and the Chagall exhibit. Oh, thank you for some art. Julian would love this because we all will. We all appreciate it. Oh, beautiful. Is this Philippe Halsman? Wow. Nothing like art. Oh, and you went to the cafe. Beautiful. That coffee looks sublime. And those, oh God, what is that? Oh boy. That looks sinful, woman. This looks like the type of thing that Julie wants. Julie loved a giant latte. I don't put milk in my coffee, but I always made sure it was perfect for her. She loved it. She loved a great latte. Oh, peppermint tea. I don't drink tea anymore. I'm a Lions man, and I do drink tea if I'm sick, but if I'm having a sandwich, I might make a tea, but it's not really my thing. Anymore. Not anymore. And Carolyn Martin says the Brigade double tourbillon. Oh, yeah. Who was it that Adrian Barker just said that they're not his thing? Brigade, look at that. I mean, they invented so much stuff. Yeah, it's not my style either, but, it's Brigade. What can you do about Brigade? So many watch brands owe so much to Brigade. I think if it came down to like getting one of these amazing horology brands, I would go Je Le Culte, the watchmaker's watchmaker. I wore my Speedmaster the last couple of days and I didn't put it back in its case. I'm wearing my Milgauss and I have where did I put my Speedmaster? Usually, I always put them away. I'm really good at putting my watches away. And I didn't put this away, but it's been so crap the last couple of days. I just don't know what I did with it. That's the Brigade double tourbillon. Look at that. That's $500,000. Gioche Macchina in Vienna Brigade Boutique. You're not in Vienna, are you? Are you in Vienna? Wow. Well, thanks, guys. Thank you so much for all that. I mean, we weren't planning on doing the Gallery of Bastards, but thanks so much. Thanks to everybody tonight who decided to. Here's a shot of. I'll share a couple more shots of Jewel before I wrap it all up. I'm not sure where this is, but that's Kristen, Julie, and me, clean shaven, at some event. Probably. Oh, this is in Saratoga Springs, New York, at a wedding. That wasn't that fun. Julie, amazing, classy lady. What else I got here? What the problem is? It's like all my good stuff is on a. This is a picture of me, Jewel, and David at the beautiful theater, the King's Theater. This is us. That's me, Paul, and Julie and David at the Ringo Starr show. Let me get on that, and then I got. This is us hanging out there too. That theater it's in Brooklyn. It's unbelievable. Having a great time going to see Ringo. She loved Ringo. Ringo was her favorite Beatle for sure. 100 million%. She loved antiquing and she loved to go see all the amazing museums and things that you could get. This was out in the Hamptons at this museum. It's Jewel in her Long Island activewear. Dave taking pictures as usual, as he always did. She's just such an incredible person. And here's a great shot of us at a restaurant in Great Neck, Long Island. A couple of years ago, she's having a mimosa. We love to have our cocktails. Just incredible, tall, beautiful, kind, wonderful, amazing Julie. I don't know what we're going to do without you. I really don't. We're all fucked, man. We have to figure out how to be unfucked, Julie taught us lessons in life on how to be better people. That is something she absolutely did, RP 1960 says, my wife is a breast cancer survivor. Thank God for that, or thank whomever, since I'm done with God. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. I don't think it works. If it works for you, great. It didn't work for me, and I don't ask for anything for myself, ever. I don't. And I'm not saying, oh, Dirk, I'm so selfless. I don't say that at all. I don't pray for myself in any way, shape, or form, but I do pray for others, and it hasn't been working out. Julie was too vital. She was first diagnosed 2 months after she retired. Surgery, chemo, radiation 5 years later, and I still wake up to hear her breathing. we're grateful for that. We're grateful for that worked. Julie they said her cancer was inoperable. And it was isolated in one part of her lung. And I was like, why can't they just take that out? Take every adventure while you can. Never say no. That's the way we're going to end it tonight, RP 1960. Take every adventure while you can and never say no. Never say no. Guys, thank you for joining me. Wasn't sure I was going to do a show, but I was here alone and I didn't know what else. I needed somebody to talk to. Thank you for being my friends and my Basher family. Thank you for everybody who wrote to me and you sent some wonderful, beautiful things, and they're taken straight to our hearts. I can't thank you enough. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, everybody, for all of this. Tomorrow, we're going to say our final goodbye to Julie at her service, and I would imagine it's going to be really rough. And then we'll just figure out a way to keep her in our hearts and memories forever, because she absolutely deserves it. So guys, remember to hold the door open. Remember to say please and thank you. And remember, if you encounter unkindness, maybe you should just tell that person, be nicer, because you know what? You're acting like a total cunt.